meetings. I've still got to get last week's meeting up on YouTube, but if anybody has any concerns about recording, please let Shane or I know, and we can stop that recording. Carmalita, are you okay with that if we record your part of the presentation as well?
That's fine.
All right. And in the tail end of our meeting today, we've added a slide with the links to our YouTube page and our Facebook page and our Instagram. So I invite everybody to jump in on those and feel free to review those after our meetings as well. So today is August 5th, 2020, and I am going to ring the proverbial bell. I don't have that sound synced up today, so ding! Welcome to Rotary.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Thank you to Jim Grant for being our greeter today, albeit a little tardy, but we'll still accept it. Thank you, Jim. And we're going to jump to the Pledge of Allegiance, led today by Linda Meredith.
Okay, let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Linda. Our moment of reflection today is offered by fellow Rotarian Sierra Allen.
I'm so sorry I do not have a moment of reflection today. I didn't get the email that I was supposed to add that in there. So I apologize. Everyone keep volunteering.
That's okay. The volunteering there, Sierra, thank you. I know you've done some food distribution volunteering, some other things. Especially during the COVID world, I invite everybody to jump into blood drives. There's plenty of blood drives going on, and it's a big need right now. Continue volunteering everywhere that we've all been volunteering. We are making a difference. So thank you, Sierra, for that. Today's song time, because it's the first week of the month, is Happy Birthday. So I figure we'll just all sing it together and sound funny on Zoom. I'm going to resume the slideshow here. I cannot see the chat today, Shane, so if you could monitor that for me, that'd be great. I'm only on one screen.
Got it.
It's a little more challenging. So without further ado, a 1, a 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarian. Happy birthday to you.
Who all has a birthday this month? How many Rotarians do we have that are August birthdays?
Me.
I know I'm one. August 21st is my birthday. Anybody else?
Yeah. 22nd.
22nd there for Alan Bennett.
I'm the 25th.
And Sharon's the 25th. Can I
I'm
get
Jerry.
26th or 27th? Sorry, I think I missed one there. Who else has a birthday today or this month?
Jerry has one on the 23rd.
23rd. We're all in the 20s. All right. So happy birthday, Rotarians. Happy August birthday. Introduction of our guests. Carl Flowers, I've got you down for introduction of guests today.
Carl, you're muted.
If I unmute myself. The Carbondale Rotary is always happy to welcome guests, and our guests today are former District Governor Julia Wetstein and Douglas Lynn, who has been a speaker for us as well as Jennifer Sherry. On behalf of the Carbondale Rotary, welcome.
Thank you, Carl. Some club announcements. I know that Cindy Buys is wrapping up the Cards for Kids project. Cindy, where do we stand with the Cards for Kids?
Well, wrapping up may be too strong a word.
Okay, I'm sorry. You had a first shipment that was supposed to be going out, correct?
Yeah, so I have 70 cards so far, but we of course want to have at least 100. And so I need more Rotarians to provide cards for kids who are hospitalized. Remember that I have cards I can bring you, or you can purchase your own. You can just sign your name, or you can put a short message in there. If you sign your name, just your first name. And if you would like me to come pick them up, you're welcome to send me an email or give me a call, and I'll be happy to do that. Or you can drop them by my home or by the law school, and I can get them that way. But I had asked at the beginning, I challenge every Rotarian to do at least 5 cards. And I have cards from Gail and Gayla and Christine and Shane and myself, but I need a bunch more. So please do your 5 cards and make sure you get them to me.
Cindy, you can count me in for 10. I should have 10 cards that I can get over to you. I'll shoot you an email afterwards. So that should put us up to 80.
Cindy, I have 20 completed. Just didn't get them to you.
All right. Well, I can swing by on my way home, Ella.
All right. Good deal.
Great. So that one should be completed here by the end of the week. All right. Foundation donation challenge, part of our 100 Little Things. We do have donations up through May. So that's a $100 matching donation. I want to thank Ginger for covering July. Brooks got August, and we are covered all the way through May of next year, which is great. For those of you that are visiting on the call today, for our 100th anniversary, we're doing a 100 Little Things project, which is a couple slides down. But one of those is a $100 match each month by a different Rotarian to our club foundation. So we started this back in January, and we are all booked all the way through May of next year with different Rotarians covering each month. If you'd like to continue this project, which I think is a great idea, if we can just keep moving it along, please let Shane, Jim, or myself know, and we'll get you on the list. So thank you, Rotarians, for the $100 match each month. Our Mask for Friends in Haiti. Ella, do you want to touch base on this? I meant to put it on, update the slide with the dates and time for this week for the meeting.
Yes, I would be happy.
On the t-shirts for masks.
Yes, we got started on our mask making part of the project on Monday at 10 o'clock. I know that a lot of you were at work, and so only Jerry Malumbi and I were able to get started. We spent most of our time kind of getting set up, figuring out what to do, making sure our masks were proportional as intended. And we did, I guess, a prototype run and produced at least 10 masks. But today, this afternoon, is when we really put the energy in. It's all mask making because we have patterns already. So anyone able to show up at 4 or anytime after 4, we can even extend the time, come to the I Can Read building and get it going so we can produce these masks.
How many are we're looking at doing? How many more masks?
We initially thought we would do about 400. It looked like we could get 400 from the number of t-shirts we had. We may be able to get a few more than that because that one t-shirt, hey, big t-shirts really have a purpose. We were able to get 9 out of one t-shirt. Wasn't that right, Jerry?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, and we have 200 t-shirts probably now.
If you
don't have to make every one of them into masks, but we do have plenty of t-shirts.
If you get really creative, Ella, you might even be able to use the sleeves.
We did. That's where 9 came from.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
All right.
4 p.m. today at the I Can Read building behind the district center on Giant City Road. So if you can make it, please talk to Ella or just show up. Unfortunately, Ella, I can't make it today. I've got some meetings later that I'm not going to be able to attend, but thank you for all your hard work there.
You're welcome.
I believe we said we were going to hold on to the SIH employee food drive. We were going to pause that for a little bit, but the Carbondale Warming Center lunch project is being served right now or today is bratwurst, baked beans, potato salad, fruit salad. We're still providing them lunch once a week. So Carmalita, I'm sure everybody over there has been enjoying those, and if you've got anything to add to that, we'll cover that a little bit later because she's our guest speaker today. One other thing with that, I did get a note. We do have a couple more shelving units coming our way from my donor. I don't know how many. He hasn't gotten back to me on that, but he does have a couple more. So we should be getting some more shelves your way as well, Carmelita. Our virtual board, the 100 Tomatoes project was completed this week. If you'd like to donate more fresh veggies to your local food pantry, please contact Shane. Let him know you're doing that. We've got 21 projects completed and 23 underway. The complete list can be found at rotaryofcarbondale.org/centennial. The 100 Bell Ringers, we've got Gil Kronig and Shane Hermitz are championing that one. Our 100 hours of reading to children, either online via Zoom or at local schools. I will give an update on local schools. Giant City School was going to be meeting hybrid, and as of Monday night or last night, they've announced that we will be going 100% remote to start the school year. I think there will be some opportunities to read via Zoom to school children. I know that kindergarten classrooms are always looking for guest speakers to come in and read. So there may be some opportunities to do that as well. World Polio Day to raise funds and awareness. Going through. Do I have any other announcements before I move on? I know Shane and Jim, we did receive the check for our club project this year. We did receive our district grant check, so we're working with the Kiwanis Club of Carbondale on the next steps for that project. Shane or Jerry, Jim, do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, this is Shane. I'd like to make a couple comments, if it's okay.
Yeah.
If we could back up a second, in the chat, Carl would like each guest to introduce themselves a little bit. We moved through guests there pretty quick, and then I want to touch on 100 little things. So, Julia, would you like to introduce yourself to the club? There's some Rotarians that may not know your history with our club, so if you could take a second and reintroduce yourself.
Me?
Julia.
Oh, Julia Whetstone.
Oh. Well, I'm an old member of your club. I think I was president in 2009, 2010. My sponsor to join the club was Art K. Spear. So if anybody remembers Art from many years ago. And I was an administrator at SIU for about 23 years, assistant dean of agriculture and assistant dean of science. But as I moved to Ohio, I continued my Rotary work. And I'm very happy to be seeing a lot of good old friends today. So it's great to be back.
Thanks, Julia. Doug Lind, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? I know most of the club probably knows you, but we don't want to skip you.
Sure. I'm Doug Lind. I'm here as the guest of Cindy Buys, and I am the director of the library over at the law school. I'm also a professor of law over there. I have visited you guys before. I was a guest speaker. I did a little show and tell with some of the treasures out of our rare book collection, and just happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks, Doug. Jennifer, would you like to take a second and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jennifer Sherry. I'm an associate professor in dental hygiene at SIU Carbondale, and I'm Faith Miller's guest today, and thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jennifer. Visiting Rotarian Arbeck, you got anything you want to add today?
They found my truck.
Got that free advertisement we were talking about.
Yeah, it got stolen and was gone for a few days, but at least got the truck back.
Thanks, Ara. We'll skip over Carmalita. That way Carmalita can do hers when she does her presentation, if that's okay with her. Reason I wanted to back up, we've got a few guests today, and our 100 Little Things project is probably a strange concept to some of our guests. This is our centennial year, and in celebration of 100 years, we're attempting to do 100 service projects in 1 year. So if you're not familiar with that, we've got 21 service projects done already. and 23 of them underway. So the bottom two that Rick had mentioned, the 100 hours of reading and World Polio Day, we're still looking for someone to champion and lead those efforts. We'll probably start raising money for World Polio Day closer to the end of August. So you'll start seeing some announcements to raise some funds. We are adding projects to the list. I spoke to Gayla Borgononi. There was a couple projects that will be added to the list next week. So we'll talk about those next week. So if you were wondering what 100 little things were, it's 100 service projects in one Rotary year. So we feel ambitious. We're doing pretty good, and I'll hand it back to the club president. That's all I got.
Thank you, Shane. Sorry, I'm rolling through, got on a roll and just kept pushing. But definitely welcome to the guests, and we're happy to have you all here. Now it's time for some of your good news. Who's got some good news to share? Go ahead, Faith.
Well, this is Christine,
Oh, whoops. Okay.
and because we've been meeting on Zoom, on Monday night, organized a family reunion with my brothers and nieces and nephews and sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws, and it was really fun. And we all got to meet our newest great niece, Adelaide Rose, who is just a doll.
Hey, congratulations. Faith Miller.
Yes, just finally got approval for to host our clinical licensing exam. So my wonderful students will be able to finally take that last exam that they need in order to get licensed to practice as dental hygienists. So that's this weekend. I cannot be happier for them. So we will get that done. And I don't know if Jennifer will want to share some information later, but that will be good news as well if she wants to disclose that.
Go ahead, Shane.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. As Rick mentioned earlier, we did receive the check for our district grant project. So for our guests, we submitted a grant with District 6510. We are going to partner with the Carbondale Kiwanis Club to design and build a sensory park for autistic children as an addition to Turley Park here in Carbondale. I did talk to the Kiwanis earlier in the week. The project is still a go. So you'll start seeing actual work over there if it hasn't already started. So they're projecting most of that park will be built probably by spring of next year. So the project, even though with some distancing, it will continue forward. So it's good news that our district grant project is moving forward. So just wanted to share that good news.
I was over there earlier this week, and I drove by, and the old playground is completely gone. So it's a fenced off patch of dirt right now. So, Mr. Flowers.
Yes, I'm wanted to mention some good news regarding Linda and I. Today we celebrate the 42nd year of our marriage, and my best friend in life, she and I have been partners for probably 45 years, but officially 42 years. So that is my good news.
That's great. Anyone else? Sharon.
Yes, yesterday on Coast Guard Day, which would have been great delight to our granddaughter's great grandfather, Ella Marie Susky from Ames, Iowa, celebrated 15 years of life, and she's kept us all jumping ever since she came into the world. So we're very, very happy for her. And I think it's been a good day, a good time, and she's a little worried about school. The school district has gone against the Iowa governor, and they will not be meeting full-time, everybody there all 5 days, but they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. So I know whatever happens will be, I trust the school board there. So thank you.
Anyone else with some good news to share?
Yeah, that's Shane again. I want to, since you're not seeing the chat, I wanted to read a couple things out of the chat that Cindy Buys did mention that she did deliver snacks to the hospital this week. And I lost my, and then Ella Lacey shared that her and Pam are working on the 100 boxes of crayons. So we're working on that project too. So that's a couple other good things to share.
Great. Great job, everybody. All right. Sergeant at Arms, Gail, standing in as our sub this week.
Well, it's a long list of folks who've acknowledged good things that they've been doing today. So I've made notes of all of those, and thank you to each of you for what you've been doing, and encourage you to continue positive outreaches on behalf of the club, extending out to our community and to the world.
Thank you. Our guest speaker this week is Miss Carmalita Cahill of the Carbondale Warming Center. Carmalita, do you need me to do you have a PowerPoint you want to share? Do you need me to share a screen, or are you going to chat here?
We're going to chat. I didn't do a PowerPoint for this one because I'm working on a really, really big one for later in the month, but mainly chat. I have a few numbers and some things just to kind of explain what we've been doing. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for having us. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. Some people that I've met only over email. It's kind of exciting to see some faces to go with names. As you know, I'm from the coordinator at the Carbondale Warming Center. This year we opened December 1st of 2019, and we were supposed to close on March 31st of 2020. In light of COVID, we at that time went from being 12 hours a day to 24 hours a day due to the stay-at-home orders that were issued in our state. Because we found it a little hard to believe that our people would have some place to shelter in place at if they didn't have a shelter. And we felt it was very important to provide that space just in that simple manner. So we went from being open 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to, well, until now, until we're done. We worked very closely with the Jackson County Health Department, SIH, to rearrange our sleeping arrangements, to rearrange how we, dispense our food, how our guests dine, how we have everything set up to make sure that we were in the best possible position not to spread anything here. One of the things
right here.
And one of the things was, since that time, we have served over 270 individuals in our community. That totals to 5,614 nights stayed, and 246 days of operation, and it's 20,264 meals that have been served. Quite a few of those you are responsible for. Since COVID started in March, it's been 148 individuals, 3,489 nights stayed, and 13,889 meals served. To us, it comes as 270 stories and backgrounds from all over our community. One of the most astounding things that I find here, I'm not from Southern Illinois. I moved here 6 years ago, and I've worked in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Northwest Ohio, and different places around the country. One of the things that I found here immensely has been the unprecedented support from the community in this area. to the warming center. You don't see that other places, and it is something that as members of this community, please applaud yourself, because it's absolutely amazing. We have some people we have one lady who comes about every other week and brings us 2 giant bags of pre-cooked meatballs that we're able to reheat on the one night a week that we don't have a meal commitment, and put those in with some sauce and make those. And just something that seems so small does so much and means so much. Every donation and everything that has come from this community is a part of the foundation of what the Carbondale Warming Center is and will be. Everything that has come in. And it's truly an unprecedented community event that's occurring with this. We have been very blessed from the city to, have access to the building that we're in this year. And we are using it to the best of our abilities. As it was mentioned, shelving has been something that we've been in need of. And I know Gail and Rick have really done a great job in spearheading that and getting shelving down for a lot of our supplies. And we have actually volunteers in rooms working on getting those things organized and put up. Our next goal is to get the bare bones of a commercial kitchen. We have the space for it, and we're working to get that done. Some of the things that we've been doing down here is, since the pandemic started and we went 24 hours, we felt the need to kind of up programming with our guests, and especially the guests that we've been here with throughout the warming center time in the 12 hours in the evening. We started case management with them. We have started a jobs program here that our guests go through. And I'd like to say that half of the people who have gone through the jobs program are employed at this time. And they wore things out of our interview closet to look good for their interviews and feel that confidence. We also have a women's empowerment group and a men's empowerment group. One of our things is that we feel like a lot of responsibilities lie with our guests. If there's a conflict or an incident that occurs here, and the question that we ask our guests at that time is, are you going to allow this to affect where you sleep tonight? By asking the question in that manner, we're not putting you out. We're asking you, is this particular instance the tipping point for you this day? And that's okay. If it is, we'll see you tomorrow morning and we'll try again. If it isn't, let's get the parties involved and let's find a resolution and carry on. But yet the responsibility lies with our guests to make that decision. And a lot of the time, marginalized members of our communities aren't given those choices. They're told, you're out, you're not going to do this, we're not going to have this. We want to leave that decision to them, because then they're taking responsibility and accountability. And we find that growing more and more in our men's and women's empowerment groups that we have here for our guests, because it changes the mindset and it starts building them from the inside out. And so often that's some of the key things. They may have the skills to manage a home, but they've been beat down so much by life that they're not having that inner confidence. And building some of that is, I think, some of the most rewarding stuff that we get to see. Out of the numbers that I gave you previously, we have had 27 individuals move into their own permanent housing since December 1st that they are maintaining themselves. And that is one of the numbers that we're really proud of. Getting people in, getting them established. We try to keep tabs with them, make sure everything's going okay. I know one family, we had a rather large family, we still check on them. About every 2 weeks, we're checking to make sure they have what they need. Especially in this time, there's about 7 kids in that family. So we want to make sure, hey, if you're running low on cereal, let's get some over. Let's take care of you. You're a part of our family, and we want to keep that going. For our guests that have been here, we're still here to help support. We have been ecstatic in some of the things that have begun here. We're ecstatic in seeing some of the changes in the guests that we serve. We're 8 months in now to a 4-month project, and we are excited to see a lot of the change. One of our biggest things is gratitude to our community, especially Noon Rotary, who has kind of adopted us, and we appreciate that so much. Our guests know Wednesday afternoon when Patty Stokes pulls up, they are out there and happy to help carry everything in and get that in. They know what's up. Some of other members of Noon Rotary, I know Jerry does some through Cuff and has a Saturday afternoon lunch that he brings by, and there's a Thursday dinner that him and others work on, and they know when that's here and they know exactly what it is. So our guests know and appreciate everything that comes through, and of which pictures have been taken. They'll be posted when we're done here of today's lunch. And we're very grateful to have been thought of in those times and in those moments, and that our guests are thought of in those times and moments. We really appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Carmelita. It's Jennifer Sherry. We've met via email and talking back and forth, but would it be okay if I just share some information about the grant that we just received for the Carbondale Warming Center?
Yes, ma'am.
One of our graduates, actually, she graduated in 2020, May, and hopefully she's at work today. She was maybe supposed to try to get in on the call, but her name's Mallory Wheeler, and she actually worked with me on kind of an independent study activity this last semester, and it was her idea to actually help the Carbondale Warming Center by writing a grant with myself. And we actually wrote a grant for the Carbondale Warming Center, and we received $1,000 to go to that group. And it was the Rosie Wall Community Spirit Grant through the American Dental Hygienists Association Institute for Oral Health. And what it's going to basically be supplying for their guests is an oral health kit that they can take with them or to use as they're there at the center. We're also going to be presenting some oral cancer information for them to be aware of what they need to look for in their own mouths if they're having concerns or issues. And they can always reach out to our clinic if they have questions. Another thing that we're going to hopefully kind of coordinate is to purchase healthy snacks for the guests that do go to the Carbondale Warming Center, such as fruit or some type of granola, something along that lines that is something that can be definitely utilized. So I did want to share that information because that check actually should be coming pretty soon because we did turn in W-9 information and all the information that needed to go into the ADHA. So congratulations, you guys are doing great work there, and just continue to do what you can.
Thank you so much, Sherry, or Jennifer, thank you. And thank you and your student for spearheading that grant, because I don't think people think of the oral health in a warming center or a homeless shelter very often. It's not something, there's so many other immediate needs that it's an immediate need, but it's not something that's thought of often. And so we appreciate that greatly.
Absolutely, glad to do it.
Carmalita, this is Gail. First of all, welcome to our club today, and thank you for all that you're doing through the Warming Center. For club members and for our other guests, just as a reminder, we have been providing some shelving, food assistance, of course, box fans. And Carmelita, when I stopped by a couple of days ago to drop off some things, I understand that you could use garment racks to use to get clothing in a a better stored situation, the nicer clothing that you are using for your guests when they're going out for a job interview. So just to pass that along to the club members, if any of you might have a garment rack that you're not using that you would like to make available, please let me know and I'll be happy to pick it up. And then Carmalita, I wondered if you might say a few words about how you're going about working with the guests in getting them transitioned into a work situation where they're able to be a little more independent, more self-supporting. If you're still on, I don't see her on the gallery.
Looks like we may have lost her here.
We may have lost her. Something else for the club to think about, and I will follow up with Carmalita. We had talked a little bit about if it would be useful if some of the club members might be willing to meet with guests from the warming center and help them in terms of reviewing their resumes or helping develop their interview skills. So if that's something that any of you might be willing to help with, I will reach out to Carmalita and see if that's something that would be of interest to them as well. Just let me know if it's something you're interested in.
Gail, this is Julian.
Hi, Julian.
I have a question. Do you know if their guests, as we call them, can they work? I mean, are they allowed? I mean, can I hire one of them to do some odd jobs?
I don't know the details, Julie. Let me find out, and I'll get back to you. And also, Rick, if we can put information out to the club in general. I'm assuming that would be possible.
Yeah.
So she should be jumping back on shortly. I just saw in the chat, Sierra has been texting her. So we might be able to ask some of those questions as well. I did just get a message from my contact. He's got at least eight more shelves for us to pick up. So we've just got to coordinate pickup on those and getting, like I said, 8 more shelves over there, which should be very helpful. So, thank you.
Rick, if you'll let me know when you want to do that, I'll be glad to help with that again.
Yeah, so I've got another car now, so I've got reliable transportation and at least can help come and move some things. But yeah, there she is.
All right.
Welcome back, Carmalita.
Sorry about that. I thought my laptop was charging and it went completely dead and had to hit another plug. I apologize for that.
I had a question for Carmalita. That as far as volunteers, what is needed and what is needed and how often or the hours and that we can come? I mean, do you screen the volunteers? How is that working?
Well, what we have on our webpage, cwcentered.org, there is an option for volunteering there, and there is a waiver and some videos to watch for it there to go through that. And then in that kind of volunteer application, it lets us know when you're available. I believe there's an option there. Hey, I'd really like to, work with this area or this aspect or do this, and you're able to put that in there. That comes directly to my email once those are completed, and then we kind of move forward from there. So it's a really kind of self-directed aspect of it. We're always in need of volunteers to help organize our storage room. That's one of the places of a great spot. Right now, I encourage that because there's not a lot of interaction in our storage room.
Okay.
I know you're coming. We take you right back there, and that's kind of where you spend your time with the mask on, and that's just for safety at this point. Just exposures and things like that. We want to still have an opportunity for our community to assist, but in the safest manner possible.
Okay. Say the website again.
CW Centered, CENTERED.org.
Carmelita, I have a question.
Yes.
Can your guests cook their own food?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
We do have a microwave. We do have microwaves available to them for reheating. What we do, how it is set up right now, I think it's all except one meal out of the week is basically donated to us by various faith communities and organizations such as your own and other churches throughout the community.
How many people are you feeding at each one of those meals?
Roughly 40, give or take 3 to 4 people.
3 meals a day?
Yes, sir.
Carmelita, we had a question. Is it possible if someone were interested to hire one of the guests from the warming center to say do odd jobs, is that something that can be worked with?
Yes.
So just kind of contact you to request that or schedule that?
Definitely, we can do that.
And while you were offline, I mentioned to the club that a few days ago when I dropped off some things, you said you could use garment racks to help with keeping some of the nicer clothing in better shape for the guests going out for job interviews.
Yes, yes. That interview rack, and for the interviews that our guests have gone back, the feedback that we've gotten from them, just the confidence that they had, knowing that they weren't just putting together what they had and knowing that they were able to just put on and look good for their job interview. They said that built them up so much. So we're really excited about having that access and having that apparel ready for them.
Do you have a need for some good quality used clothing?
Always. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Carmelita, I wanted to give you a quick update. I have at least 8 more shelving units, and I know some of the folks on the call have been helping get those in recently. He'd like us to get those from him either today or tomorrow. So if you have a truck and you're able to help us pick up some shelving units.
Okay.
I have a trailer hooked to my exhibition right now, so talk to me after, Rick.
Okay, sounds good.
Carmelita, some time ago, you and I talked briefly about if it would be helpful if some of our club members were available to help review like resumes or do mock interviews with some of your guests. So if that's something that might be of use, if you'll let me know, we can recruit some folks from our club to help with that.
Great. I keep that in the back of my mind as we're going through that. I'm just waiting for the safest possible time that we can in Jackson County right now to do that.
Sure.
We're looking forward to that. That extra preparation can mean the difference between a job and not having a job. So definitely.
Could you say a little bit more about how some of the guests have been able to move into a job situation? What kind of jobs? How's that working out? What's the process?
Great. In the beginning, it was very individualized and depending on how motivated that guest were themselves. And then we decided we need to have a program for that to kind of help energize more of our guests in that direction. We have 2 computers that they have access to for that, a laptop and a desktop that they're able to do job searches on. I usually try to go through when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning and see who's hiring locally and put up some information for them so that they have some place to start instead of just sitting there like, okay, let me find a job. We guide them through that once they have an interview. We're helping them with those interview clothes. We're working on those resumes with them and their mindset. We have guests who are working at, let's see here, multiple fast food and some of the other restaurants in the area. We have 2 that'll be starting out at Gilster this week. So they're getting into different places, and the ones that we have starting at Gilster, once they have that and they've started, I want to work with them some more to continue hiring and applying other places, especially places that are closer to where they want to be. It's difficult to have a job that's many miles away and to maintain that. So I feel as they build more of a positive work history, then they can up that level of applying for different positions. We work with them the whole way through it. The one young lady, we did not have the pants that she needed for work. We went and got them. We had that in a grant. We can go get that. And just to kind of give them everything and the tools that they need for that. And when an interview doesn't go well, we're still here for them to work with them. And we give it a day or two and ask them, what part of it do you think? What part didn't you feel prepared for? So we try to be proactive, and then there are times that we can't do anything but be reactive. And our biggest goal is to try and be as proactive with that as we can. We have 3 guests this week. I was preparing checks and getting things ready for them this week, helping them with their move-in costs to move into their own place. One of them is currently employed. The other 2 have a maintenance income that will allow them to afford where they're going to be. And working with that guest, we've been working with him for about the last week on budgeting. So we know what your monthly rent's going to be. We can control the other utilities. We can control electricity use. We can control these other things, and kind of going over what are your have-to-have things for the week, and what are the things that we don't necessarily have to have every week, and working with him on budgeting. And again, it's the mindset that we're trying to create, and to create good habits in that regard. And that's one of the things that we work really hard on, not just because you're here, but we want you to be successful when you leave here. I don't want to see you again in December. And that's our biggest thing. I'll take you in as a volunteer in December, but I don't want to see you using this address in December. So that's one of our biggest things, is to really work with them from pre-job, during job, preparation to moving out, and really kind of working on those skills that can be lost if you spent some time in addiction, or if you spent some time someplace else. Those things are like any skill. You have to practice. You have to do it often to keep it sharp. So we work with them on that, most definitely.
Carmelita, this is Shane. I have 2 questions for you. One being, as the season starts to change, are there other items that you need in donations? And the second part of that is, when is a good time to bring donations over? Do you have a special time that you'd like to see donations come over?
We are here for donations to be delivered. We're here 24 hours a day. And so that can be any time that works for somebody. Even if you show up at 3 in the morning, we're pretty good with that. But we are here 24 hours a day. We have a really good technology with our camera systems, so we can see when people pull into our area, and we're able to go out and be like, hey, I wonder who that is, and reach out there. And it can be contactless, depending on a person's level of comfort with dropping things off or anything like that. That can also be contactless. I think Gail and Jerry can attest to, if you show up and there's something that needs to be moved or it's big, we have a lot of helpers with that. And so that works out well. With the changing season, one of the things that we thought we were going to need a lot of was bottled water. And I think through the connections here in Sierra and Saluki Athletics, they supplied us a tabletop water cooler that we have a dedicated water line to for hot, lukewarm, and ice cold water, which has been an absolute asset completely, because our guests are just able to fill right up from there. It's touching up here, nothing's touching on any contaminatable areas of it, and it's just really been a great thing. Right now, probably our biggest thing as far as the seasonal change is drink mix. We have a 5-gallon orange kind of like Gatorade thing, and then we have a couple other ones, and I think they're about 5 gallons, or if I'm correct, the black ones. And So we try to keep those. One of those we use for coffee. And one of those we try to keep something, something other than water, because they tell me all the time, we can't just live on water. Okay, I'll go to Sam's, I'll get some lemonade. But anything that adds to water to make water more palatable at times, that's one of the things that, and we generally make that at about 5 gallons at a time.
Do we have any additional questions for Carmalita today?
I don't have a question, but having stopped there a number of times, my hat really is off to you, Carmalita, for the broad range of services you're providing to a community, an aspect of our community that is definitely in need. And it's really encouraging to hear some of the positive results that some of the folks are able to transition into job situations and independent living. So congratulations for your successes there, and thank you for what you're doing.
Like I've said, I thank you for that. And truly none of it is possible without the community that we live in absolute honesty. We could have all the ideas and all the programs, but without the support of the community that we're in, that Carbondale offers and that Jackson County offers, it's, as I've said before, unprecedented. And it allows it all to happen.
All right. Thank you, Carmalita, for joining us today and for sharing what's going on at the Warming Center. I want to say thank you again for all the hard work that you've put in and the staff's put in over there, and the significant impact you're having, the amount of meals you've served, and the amount of just, wow. So great job, and thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right. Let me go back to sharing my screen here. So next week, we have Allison Connett, Rotary, the Rotary Youth Exchange student will be joining us. Following week is John Jackson to discuss the 2020 election. And on the 26th, we'll have Liz Jarnigan from SIU Athletics. So thank you, Linda, for scheduling out August here. And she sent me a list earlier this week that we've got, it looks like we've got guests scheduled, looks like at least tentatively through at least October. So got a great schedule coming up and some really exciting presenters. So thank you, Linda and the programming committee, for getting that all laid out. I promised we'd have the list of all of our links here. So please feel free, check us out on Facebook, like us on Facebook, on Instagram. Our website is rotaryofcarbondale.org. And if you search Carbondale Rotary on YouTube, you'll find recordings of most of our last couple meetings. I've got to get last week's uploaded, and we'll get today's uploaded as well. And to close out our meeting, we'll go to the four-way test. Sharon Harris Johnson, could you please lead us in the four-way test?
Four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Number 1.
Is it the truth?
Is it true? Number 2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3.
Will it build goodwill and better
friendships?
And number 4.
Build goodwill and better
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, everyone.
Be beneficial to all concerned.
Ding! The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming today. It was great to see all of your smiling faces, and I hope to see you again next week.
Thank you.
Take care,
Great
everybody.
to see all the guests. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Julia, nice to meet you.
I think I'll come back for John Jackson. That's always my favorite presentation. I love his work.
Yeah.
Well, find our Facebook page. We'll be listing all the way out to the end of October, probably in a couple of days. So you'll see all the speakers.
Excellent. Good work.
Okay.
And happy 100th anniversary.
Thank you.
Thanks. You were a big part of it.
Yeah.
I've got to jump off. I have another meeting to run into.
Okay, see ya.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.